Hello there, folks. Welcome to my brain wreck. As you all may know, this is a fairly new channel. Um, the reason I call it my brain wreck is because I have nocturnal seizures, and I'm just trying to learn more and more about them. They're very one can be one of the most deadly to people, unfortunately. One of the things that come along with that, unfortunately, is memory. And we have trouble. We have memory loss and stuff like that. We don't know why, but it happens. Unfortunately, we lose our memory and stuff. Now, according to this AI overview on here, of course, artificial intelligence, but it says nocturnal seizures can negatively impact memory, potentially leading to memory problems, obviously, and difficulties with cognitive functions, especially due to the disruption of sleep-related non-memory consolidation process. So, as most of us know, our um, nocturnal seizures happen early in the morning or just waking up or going to sleep sometimes too is a possibility. Now, as for it to happening, are not quite sure why how it affects our memory, but I think it has to do with our medicines too. Personally, my own personal opinion, but maybe because our memory is getting suppressed and stuff, and we're trying to remember something else that we're not sure what we're trying to remember. Excuse me if my words are fumbling up here. As I said, sometimes my words get fumbled up, and I call it word salad. I know what I want to say, but I just can't say it and get out in the correct way. But for more, here's like I said, this is a more detailed explanation. It says nocturnal seizures can disrupt in REM sleep, which stands for non-rapid eye movement sleep oscillations, which are essential for memory consolidation. So we got to be able to remember stuff, but we have trouble doing that. So along with that becomes memory impairment. So according to studies, suggests that patients with nocturnal seizures may perform worse on memory tests compared to those with other types of epilepsy. Okay. I myself personally have not been diagnosed with epilepsy. I've just been diagnosed with a seizure disorder. But I do know I have trouble remembering stuff because I will ask my wife thousands and thousands of times, what do you need me to do? I'll go back and ask her again. So you need this, this, and this. And I'm sure some of you that have nocturnal seizures or just seizure disorders in general have that problem. I know I do myself personally. And can it be annoying for us? Yes, because I feel like we just can't remember. Like, we have the intelligence to remember, but we forget. There's something that's suppressing our memories for some reason, and we just don't know why yet. I don't know if there's been any breakthrough or anything like that, but maybe in my next video, I'll do some research and see if there's been any breakthroughs on epilepsy or nocturnal seizure and stuff. I know it's come a long ways, but as I said in my other videos, we definitely need more funding for epilepsy and seizure disorders of everything. I don't think it's spoken about enough, and people are not educated enough about it. So that's why I'm doing these videos. Even if I don't have any subscribers or one subscriber, or if it comes across somebody's feed that maybe they look into, if they have a friend that has nocturnal seizures or seizure disorders or epilepsy, that educate themselves and understand why we want people to learn about us and want them to follow in our footsteps one day and see what it's like, to have a nocturnal seizure or a seizure at all. Why when people sometimes have to lose our bladder, how we lose control of our bladder, or are we defecating ourselves, like that, or we look like we're staring out into space or something like that, and more likely we're having a seizure of some type. But anyways, memory impairment. Yes, definitely we have a memory impairment. Obviously more unlikely because obviously my wife tells me so. I used to remember stuff really good and stuff, and you didn't need nothing. You didn't need no list or anything like that, and you knew how to get to places and stuff like that and where to go. I still know how to get places where to go sometimes, but sometimes I do need directions more than ever needed. As for you guys with nocturnal seizures or seizure disorders or epilepsy, let me know in the comments down below. Give me a like for this video. It helps the algorithm. So like, comment, let me know. Let me know about your seizures and the seizures or whatever. Leave a comment on here. Maybe one day if I can, I'll do a live video if possible. But so far, like I said, I've only been diagnosed with a seizure disorder, but April 23rd, I'll go see my neurologist and see what he thinks, what kind of new tests he needs to run. I have not had any tests done or run on me yet, so hopefully get some more tests. I do have some medical work and stuff, obviously, I've gotten together. And I was looking at it, it's pretty interesting in some of the stuff I was reading, some about the, not Americans itself, but I reading on the internet itself, I seen something about parasomnia, which is particularly related to nocturnal seizures, which is weird. Parasomnia, I can't quite explain how it is, but if you guys want to look it up, you can look it up. And it does have to do with sleeping patterns and things like that. Sleepwalking, believe, and things like that. And just people get up and sleepwalk. That has to do with a type of parasomnia, I believe. So now they say people with nocturnal seizures certainly perform worse on memory tasks compared to those with other types of epilepsy. All right. So obviously they think nocturnal seizures are related to epilepsy. This is what I was told. That's what I was doing for my research and stuff. So let's say people had more than two seizures or whatever. It's considered epilepsy, not nocturnal epilepsy, but nocturnal seizures. So as far as I know, I'm not quite sure. Now, as for the cognitive effects, besides memory, nocturnal seizures can also affect other cognitive functions, including attention. That I do notice in me. I do notice that I don't pay much attention than I used to. And my thought process totally different. My thought process takes me longer to process stuff. As I said, when I try to get my words out, as you guys seen on camera here, it sounds like I'm how you say impaired, like somebody that was drinking alcohol impaired, which I don't drink anyways. But I know what I want to say, but I can't see what I'm doing right now. I don't know how to get the words out until I get the words in my mind figured out how I want to say it. Well, that's why I call it word salad. And it sounds like my words are coming out stuttering and stuff like that. But I know what I want to say, but it doesn't come out right. It sounds all mumble jumbled. So just bear with me if you guys hear me talking like that. It's because of my memory process. I'm not sure all seizures said it can affect our cognitive functions as they believe, including attention. I don't pay attention as much as I used to. I guess that's from what I was told and stuff. I guess executive functions, executive things that you do, and thought processes, as I just mentioned, my thought process and stuff. And there's different things, sleep disturbance. I do have sleep disturbance. Sometimes I just wake myself up for some reason, just turning or tossing, or even the smallest thing will wake me up. It never has before. I used to sleep just fine, but ever since I had nocturnal seizures, to be honest, I don't know. I've looked through my family history and stuff, and I've talked to my parents and stuff like that. No mention of anything of nocturnal seizures or anything that seizures or any type. But I understand that could be hereditary, but I don't know how true that is. So nocturnal seizures, they can significantly reduce sleep efficiency, obviously, and increase time to first REM period, which is rapid eye movement. So, and it can increase drowsiness in you, all which can contribute to your memory problems, obviously. So to those people there with nocturnal seizures, I'm talking to you, and those with epilepsy. I don't understand how it is. I just know seizures, epilepsy, our brains get controlled, and our electrodes in our brains and the signals get mixed up. That's what happens. There's the brain wants to control this side, and doesn't do that all of a sudden, and we just don't know what we're doing. We're just out to lunch somewhere. We don't know where, but we're out there somewhere. Hopefully it's a good lunch. I'm just joking. I'm just saying. But for those that don't understand nocturnal seizures or epilepsy, please go and educate yourself. For those that who have friends or something like that, or family members, go educate yourself and try to put yourself in their positions. As I said on my last video, go walk a day in their shoes with them. Go with somebody that has 2 or 3 seizures a day, even 4. Just stay with them for the day and see, talk to them, ask them if they can go. Talk to them and see if you can just go with them through their day for the day, not to work or anything like that. Just through a day of the seizure and talk to them about it. Let them tell you how they feel. Don't look at them like they're just a piece of stigma out in society, because they're not. All right, guys, that's one thing that people with seizures and epilepsy and other disorders, we're not a stigma to society. We are people too. All right, we just have something that's not balancing our head right. That's all. It's just something's wrong with our brain, obviously. And yes, there are surgeries and stuff that can take care of that and lessen the seizures or even stop them completely, but it doesn't mean they won't come back. We just don't know. Now, in the postictal period, so after a seizure, if we have a seizure, we may experience a postictal period where they may not remember having You might remember having a seizure or experience other memory loss. We might not remember anything of that. Well, which when I had my 3 nocturnal seizures and stuff, I did not remember nothing. I was unconscious each time. All 3 times when my wife had to do a CPR me each and every time. I was blue each time. And my last one, I was put into a coma, obviously, because I was not responding to anything, no touches or anything like that, or voices or sounds or anything like that. I didn't come to until hours later. So all I remember doing is waking up in the hospital with a tube down my throat, catheter down there, and looking up and wondering where the heck I'm at, why am I in this hospital setting, what's going on. Now, as for long-term effects, in some cases, frequent sleep-related seizures may contribute to accelerated long-term forgetting and a remote memory impairment. So, you just don't know what's going on, what's happening. It's hard for us. We want to remember stuff, but sometimes our memory changes, our thought process changes, and we think differently. We may think things more thoroughly, or we're just not there, thinking the right way. We've changed. We're not the same person that you expect us to be. We've doing stuff differently. You've never done that before. He or she has never done that before. We may not have. But all of a sudden, we do stuff like that for a reason. Now, transient epileptic amnesia was kind of weird. I know, transient. In some cases, frequent focal temporal lobe onset, subclinical, or minimal clinical seizures arising from sleep, potentially explaining transient cognitive impairments typical of TEA. All right, so you guys can go ahead and look that up and stuff. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. So, anyways, like in this video, this is my brain wreck. My brain wreck. But it could be your brain wreck too. But this is why I call this channel My Brain Wreck. My Brain Wreck. It took a wreck. It wasn't a wreck, as I call it. Epilepsy action, states that the effect, this is epilepsy, states that the effect that sleep seizures have on you can depend on which stage of sleep you are in. So, depending on which state of sleep you're in and stuff, and you have a nocturnal seizure, it could be bad, it could be worse. Like mine, obviously, I think I was just waking up and then I was gone. And one of my seizures, I ended up getting combative, I believe, and fighting with the paramedics and stuff like that. But you're scared, you know what's going on. You're like, who the heck are these people? Even though they're just there trying to help you, you're not sure what's going on. And as I said, this is just for informational purposes only. This is not to be taken as advice for medical or anything like that. I'm just telling the stories about epilepsy and my seizures and my journey and what I'm going through and stuff, and letting you know. I thought it'd be kind of interesting so you guys can see what I'm going through and what others maybe are trying to get out there and tell you what's happening to them, and maybe they're afraid to come on camera and stuff or whatever, and I can understand why, because they're got people thinking, what's he doing on camera? Why is he doing that? There's no reason for him to do this. He's just a ding-dong. No, they're not ding-dongs. None of them are. None of us that have seizures are nocturnal seizures or epilepsy. We're here just to want to be part of society like everybody else. We're normal people, all right? We may be different in the brain a little bit, but that's just us. But we're still the same person. We're human beings. So treat us like human, not stigma of society, all right? That's all we want to say, It's crazy. So, other things, sorry about that. Turn the camera. There's all kinds of things that go on in our lives while we forget things, We don't remember the last thing. When we fall asleep, we might, people that have the seizures and stuff, after we fall asleep, we have that nocturnal seizure, and then we wake up, we don't remember the last thing that we did, And people that do have seizures, like I said, they can have, wet themselves or defecate themselves, and that's because they have no control over their body. Their body's just in shock, and they have no control. Their muscles take over and all that stuff. It's not fun or anything. Nothing like that at all. Not for anybody. So. And I know they have, people have different ideas about what should be done and how it should be done, what type of diet you need and all that stuff. So, but there's different ways. Like I said, this is not for medical advice or anything like that. This is just to get the information out. I'm getting information. I'm just giving people out the information about myself out there, for my nocturnal seizures, what I've gone through. Like I said, I had 3 nocturnal seizures, and I could have died all 3 times, and anybody with any type of seizures can die. So that's why I suggest that for those people that have friends with seizures and you don't talk to them that much at all, go educate yourself on them. Talk to your friend, ask them what kind of seizures do you suffer from. There's over 40 plus different types of seizures, all kinds. It's crazy. Now over here, this is from Science Direct from 2024. It says seizure disorders are part of the differential diagnosis of nocturnal spells, particularly episodes of abnormal motor activity occurring during sleep or soon after awakening. Depending on the type of patient studied, as many as 10 to 40% seizures occur exclusively or mainly during sleep. So there's a lack of daytime seizure activity and the fact that automatisms or episodes of changed sensorium during the sleep may not be noted by a bed partner or remembered by the patient makes simple partial or partial complex seizures difficult to diagnose because we don't know what happened. Like I said, some seizures, such as those associated with nocturnal frontal lobe epilepsy, like mine, are tonic-clonic. They can occur without loss of conscience or post-ictal confusion may be incorrectly assumed to be a parasomnia. Remember I said about parasomnia, they think that might be related, but it could be incorrectly. So it says the incident of nocturnal seizure has 2 peaks. One about 2 hours after bedtime, all right, and another between 4 and 5 a.m. So between 4 and 5 a.m. is what it says. Okay, this is from Science Direct, just letting you know, so I'm giving them the credit. This is what I'm telling you about. All right, this is not to be taken as any medical information from me or anybody like that. If you want to learn about this stuff, you may look this stuff up on Google yourself or do your research and stuff or talk to your doctor, epitologist, neurologist, or your PCP, your primary care physician. So, but like I said, I'm trying to just get this out there and people to try to get people more educated about seizures and nocturnal seizures and everything. And I try a little bit to do epilepsy there. I don't quite understand epilepsy yet, but it is out there and it is considered a disability under the ADA. So yes, just letting you know that. Some people might think it's considered a disability, but yes, it's considered a disability, believe it or not. So some seizures, such as those associated with nocturnal frontal lobe epilepsy, can occur without loss of conscience or post-ictal confusion may be incorrectly assumed to be parasomnia. The incidence of nocturnal seizure has 2 peaks, one about 2 hours, as I just mentioned, after bedtime, and another between 4 and 5 a.m. Now, then it says daytime seizures are most prevalent in the first hours after awakening. In general, all manifestations of nocturnal seizures disorders are much more common in non-rapid eye movement, okay, NREM. It just says NREM, which stands for non-rapid eye movement, and rare during rapid eye movement, REM sleep. Prior sleep deprivation activates seizures. So if you're tired and you don't have enough sleep and stuff, that could be one of the things. Now, from my experience, also, if you have infections of any type, as I mentioned on my other video, I had infections of cellulitis. Didn't even know I had it on my backside here, and I was got this is my 3rd diagnosis or 2nd, can't remember, but I didn't feel one thing. I didn't hurt or nothing, anything, which is weird. So prior sleep deprivation activates seizures. Therefore, patients often undergo clinical EEG monitoring. So monitoring the sleep deprived state to increase the likelihood of recording the seizure activity. So they want to record a seizure activity. Doesn't mean they're going to catch one. No, a lot of times they don't. Now, epilepsy syndromes commonly associated with nocturnal seizures are listed also. Now, if you're wondering what the parasomnias are, so I don't know how you describe it, but like I said, kind of sleepwalking and stuff like that. So now with nocturnal seizures, a lot of people don't understand is that sleep and epilepsy are common bedfellows, all right? Nocturnal seizures. Parasomnias. In most cases, epilepsy is a high state dependent, non-rapid eye movement sleep promotes seizures, whereas REM sleep is a relatively anti-epileptic state, okay? So non-REM sleep promotes seizures, so non-rapid eye movement sleep promotes seizures, whereas the REM sleep is a relatively anti-epileptic state. So REM, rapid eye movement sleep, is a relatively anti-epileptic state, and I'll say it a few times already. So the state-dependent vulnerability to seizures reflects the dramatic reorganization of the entire central nervous system. So your whole nervous system, your brain, and all that good stuff, and everything works. Your brain is your brain up here is the biggest computer in the world. It's bigger than your cell phone. If we all know how to tune into our brain, how to use each part of our brain separately together, that'd be amazing. Because guess what? Your brain is the most powerful computer there is. Now, the state-dependent vulnerability to seizure reflects the dramatic reorganization of the entire central nervous system as it moves across the three states of being: wakefulness, non-rapid eye movement sleep, and rapid eye movement sleep. All right. So there is an extensive overlap and potential for confusion between the other parasomnia and nocturnal seizures, particularly nocturnal frontal lobe epilepsy. So frontal lobe, try to move it up here. Yeah, frontal lobe here. So it's something else. What else can we talk about? Well, let's talk about the movement disorders in sleep, nocturnal seizures. Seizures can be classified into three groups depending on the moment of the day when they take place. All right. So, like I said, this is not to be taken for any medical advice or anything like that. Okay. This is from ScienceDirect.com. If you're wondering where stuff comes from. All right. Like I said, I'm just doing my research and doing what I can along with this. So, seizures can be classified in three groups depending on the moment of the day when they take place. Nocturnal seizures occur predominantly during sleep. All right, obviously during sleep. So, diurnal seizures appear during the daytime. Di meaning two. And diffuse epilepsy is characterized by seizures that can occur throughout the day. Can happen any time, don't know when. Nocturnal seizures may be mistaken for motor and behavioral parasomnias or other movement disorders. For this reason, multi-channel EEG must be performed together with the PSG or the previous night under the sleep deprivation. And as for the PSG, please forgive me, I'm not sure what that stands for. So that's why I said do not take this channel as medical advice or anything. I'm just trying to get information out there about nocturnal seizures and possible epilepsy and seizure, and why people need to be educated more on it. People just are not educated enough on this, personally, in my personal opinion. Now I can see what PSG stands for here in just a second. So give me a moment. Okay, a polysomnography, which is a technique used to study breathing abnormalities during the different sleep. So that's sleep study by recording chest and abdomen movements to detect periods of apnea, hyponia. Yeah, excuse me. But anyways, that's what that stands for. I'll get more into this stuff later, But otherwise, I'm just trying to go through and get more stuff about nocturnal sleep and nocturnal epilepsy and stuff like that, and seizures, as they were. People think, like I said, seizure disorders and epilepsy are two different things. Yes, there are seizures that are associated with epilepsy. So, but that's what we're doing. So, and this is a Sleep Medicine Review 2024. If you want to look up some of this stuff, it's from the ScienceDirect.com. All right. So once again, that's from Sleep Medicine Reviews 2024, ScienceDirect.com. If you're wondering, get to some of this stuff. So I hope this helps you guys. Help you, those that don't have epilepsy or don't have a seizure or anything. But if you're coming across this channel and this is your first time come to the channel to my brain wreck, I'm talking about my brain wreck, and maybe I'm relating to some of your brain wreck, obviously. So, as I said, I don't understand epilepsy computer. I don't understand nocturnal seizures completely. That's why I'm going to my neurologist. So, if you haven't got a neurologist appointment or anything like that, a seizure and you got seizure stuff, you should just get into a neurologist. Yes, this is going to be very hard to get into it. Oh, most definitely. They are very hard to get into. Guarantee there's probably, if you get into right away, great. There's more likely sometimes a 3 to 4 month wait, sometimes a 5 month wait, because just, our brains are does all our functions and stuff. Our heart, our brain, all our body works together. Our thyroid and so forth. Or whatever side our thyroid's on. I think this side. But that's what regulates everything, right? Your thyroid relates to everything in your body. So I hope this helps you guys. So this is my brain wreck. If you like my channel, press on that subscribe button. Press down the bottom right hand corner of your screen there. Bring up a subscribe button that way. Click on the bell. Click on all. That way you know when I post a video each and every time. I know these are long videos, but I just want to get the stuff out there, and I want people to be educated. And I just want to let you know that we're people too, and we're humans, and we have feelings. We're not a stigmatized society. Some of us have degrees, in different things. Just because we have just because we have some type of thing wrong with us, a medical condition, doesn't mean we don't have degrees or we're educated and stuff. We don't even have a degree. Even if you don't have a degree or anything like that, people that have epilepsy or nocturnal seizures doesn't mean we don't have education or anything like that. Or we don't know something. So we're aware of some things that go on. But like I said, though, I'm still trying to understand nocturnal seizures. So that's why I'm trying to pass this on and learn with you guys and pass on to people that don't understand what nocturnal seizures are. So that's why I do my research. And as I said, I'm reading some stuff over here on the screen also. And I do apologize if my voice doesn't come across as perfectly clear, or my words aren't perfectly clear, because I know sometimes they sound jumbled up, and I do apologize because I never had that happen to me since after I had my nocturnal seizures. All of a sudden my words get mixed up, and as I call it, word salad. Like I said, I know I want what I want to say, but I just can't get them out in the correct way. But I hope you guys have a better understanding, and like I said, go talk to one of your friends that has epilepsy or seizures or nocturnal seizures or whatever, and go with them through the day and talk to them. Spend the day with them if they're on day off or whatever, and see what it's like living their life, and see how they feel. Talk to your questions. I'm sure they'd be more than willing to sit down and talk to you, because they need some people to talk to too. All right, guys, have a great day. This is my brain wreck.